Greetings, greetings. Good afternoon. We are delighted to have you join us today, this Thursday afternoon. We are Brightside Global Trade, Brightside Club, and we have the delighted pleasure to introduce some incredible authors today. And these authors promised and have shared their books with us, and they promise to be an outstanding projection of written material that can improve our lives. And we are so impressed with their writings that we are putting them on our center place space so that we have decided that they can help you guard and guide yourselves into the next era of living. And so as we kick off today's program, I want to share with you how far we've come. We started our broadcast during the COVID period. We were hosting events, and when COVID hit, we found ourselves in the middle of so much trauma and conditions, and people were trying to figure out what to do, how to do it, and how do we bounce back from this. And so we decided that we wanted to be a storefront, a feature center for people to overcome the challenges of COVID and to feel like they can play and play a part of the rebounding of our social endeavors. And that's what we've done. And so we've had over 300 to 500 broadcasts, and we've reached, oh gosh, at least
25,000.
25,000
Yep.
broadcast recipients. And so we've done, I think, an incredible job. And we are delighted to have the people that share with us. And so we've had celebrities, we had regular folk, we had authors, we had the professors and educators. Oh man, it's been a myriad of people that have showed up. So we're delighted to have you join us. And as we close out the year, we've got a couple of featured events that we planned, but we just want you to feel a part of what we're doing. We want to feel like you are playing a vital and important role, and that you are, and that we can help you reach the customers that you're after on a global scale. On a global scale, we're delighted to offer a program of our crowdsourcing coming soon. We're working out the technical details for that now, but I mean, and it's gonna be exciting. The next year promises to be an exciting period of time. And so as we engage this time frame, I just want to offer a special blessing and invocation for today and each household and each person here, so that you feel warmly invited, warmly welcomed, and that you play an important role. So quickly, let us pray. Thank you, kind Father, for your grace and everlasting mercy. Thank you for your presence in our lives and every household represented here today. We ask blessings upon families, blessings upon households, blessings upon the years ahead. Give us the signature to plan and significantly designate the future that we endeavor to achieve. We ask your grace and mercy on everything we plan to do, and your writings of hope in our communities, we pray. Thank you. Thank you, kind Father. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen. Oh, oh, oh.
So welcome.
We're excited to be here.
And I want to, without further ado, introduce our first, it's a couple, Jen and Rusty Stout. They have written an amazing book on healthier homes. And we also do an Earth Day, and in January we're doing health and wellness. So I think this book is absolutely tremendous for anybody who's buying a new home, anyone who wants to get their homes breathing. And Jen's story starts with a BA in...
Could you two move closer together? I would like to see your lovely faces.
There we go.
There we go. Both of you look great together.
Thank you.
BA in journalism from the University of Colorado, Boulder, and an MBA from the Southern Methodist University. She discovered that her chronic health issues were the result of toxic black mold. And she set out to build one of the first truly healthy homes using mainstream modern day building materials. And I'll let her finish telling you all about it. And Rusty Stout who's the co-author, brings 20 plus years of home building experience to JS2 Partners, and he was the president of the Hill County Builders Association's board of directors and a member of the Texas Association of Builders and National Association of Home Builders. He's got a long history as well, and he's authorized with OSHA, trainer, and NASP safety inspections. And I'll let him tell you the rest. But they do have the credentials as giving you expert advice. And so when you think about a book and so much fake news out there, and you want to decipher what's real, what's not real, this book comes with expert advice and experience. So first of all, thank you both for writing a book like this. And I saw that my health is totally not healthy. So led me to think I have to do a lot of home improvements, but I think it's a great holiday gift. So please share with us.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of hit it right on the head with the with the credentials. You know, Jen and I. I'm sorry.
Go, it's all yours.
All yours.
Jen and I set out with this book with the intention to make it very approachable for anyone. That you don't have to be a builder, you don't have to, you know, be a medical expert. You could just be somebody who wants to like renovate your kitchen, or even if you want to build a new house, you could take this book and you know, meet with a builder and get it done. Some of the other books that came before us, they ended up being technical manuals, and they were very hard to follow. And so when our publisher approached us with this opportunity, that was our main focus, was we want this to be approachable for anyone. And I feel like we really hit that mark. You know, whatever we write in this book, we're actually doing that every day. Before I jumped on this Zoom, I was at that house, the rendering on the cover of that book. I just left that house. It's about 80% complete. We're building it right now. So I mean, we're really we're really practicing what we preach. So
It must be an amazing effort, though, when you talk about bringing the details and the features into a new home that eliminate the other cumbersome issues that I don't know how many they are. There must be all kinds.
It's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. I got really sick about 10 years ago, living in an apartment and when I was in grad school, and I was healthy before that. I didn't know what was going on. I had like rashes all over my body and like hair loss, and none of the doctors could figure it out. And I finally found an environmental doctor in Dallas that diagnosed me with, I found toxic mold in my apartment, and that's what led me to the environmental doctor. So it was a long journey to getting my health back, but an integral part of that was finding a place that didn't set me off. I'd become so allergic to everything around me. My immune system just like crashed. So the problem with finding a home was they're either full of like formaldehyde if they're brand new, or if something's a little bit older, it had a little bit of mold in it, I would just react to it. So I set out to build my first healthy home because there was nothing else like it. And it was just for me, but then we realized, Rusty and I, that I think that this is something that everybody could benefit from. And so that's when we started JS2 Partners, Healthy Home Builders, was to build healthy homes for people, and it's delightfully taken off. And we're really excited about being able to educate people about what they can do. I mean, it's not, you don't have to build a new house to have a healthy home. There's so many different things you can do as far as like furnishings and cleaning, and it's just supposed to be a practical guide.
Yeah, it's not meant to scare anyone.
No.
I mean, it's meant to, you know, to be put into use. You know, it's very approachable. So if you think that there's something wrong, don't be scared. Just there's a solution in there for you.
Yes.
So.
I mean, is there such a thing as a test that you could run and sit and move and operate in your home that can help you evaluate, you know, where things are?
There is a questionnaire in the book that helps you evaluate kind of your state of your home. But there's also, you can hire mold test experts. They do like air tests, and that could help. There's also chemical tests too. You just have to Google it.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
Wow, that's amazing. And I think this is a must-have, whether you're renting or owning, you really want to live in a healthy environment. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And it's a big book. It's a not light book. It's a big book.
Well, there's
It's
a
like,
funny story there. This
yeah.
this was our first book. We didn't really know what to expect. We turned in 35,000 words, and the publisher was like, "That's awesome. We need 70,000." So we so
It's got pictures and it's got photographs, and I think it's a book that anyone would love this holiday season. So
Thank
I'll
you.
put it on my list, and we are now Amazon associates, so I can now put you in our store as well. So this is
Okay.
very
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry if I keep asking questions, but will there ever come a day that you think that we'll have, I think that we'll have stored oxygen in every house. So you'll get this pure oxygen that's infused into our homes and households. It just, I don't know. I mean, that's what I'm thinking. I'm
They already
thinking,
do that in Las Vegas, don't they? At the casinos.
Well, they do that to keep you gambling.
No, I think that's excellent. A part of my getting well was doing oxygen therapy. I think people benefit from it tremendously.
wow, that's true. So there will come a time, I think, that we have oxygen.
There you go. There,
I like it.
you're at the forefront.
Okay, well, we need to start making oxygen tanks.
okay.
Awesome, awesome.
So from cleaning your homes, building healthy homes, we'll move to the next holiday edition, which is children's books. And who doesn't love giving your nieces and your nephews and your godchildren and your own children and the ones that you've adopted, and who doesn't like giving a child a book? I think it's one of the best gifts to give a child, and you want to give it to them on Christmas Eve when they're running around waiting for Santa Claus, or the ones who believe in Santa Claus. And that's a great way for them to read books, and pay attention. If they are book lovers. Now kids have digital technology, but books are available on digital technology. But this is near to my heart, given my advertising background. But we have a Cannes Lion winning creative director, and the illustration is also from a Clio Award winner. And they tell a story in a hilarious way about how kindness breaks down the barriers for kids. The book is about magic and Mago, and the book is called Mago the Magic Pooh. So Howie, tell us about the book, and I'm so excited to meet you, and I hope you'll be on our show again.
Hi, everyone. I'm Howie, and Elizabeth, thank you for having me. I think it's really great what you're doing with Brightside, and seeing all these different diverse people come together with all our different skill sets is pretty cool. So thank you for what you do. The book is called, it's called Magoo and His Magic Poo. And it's basically, it's a funny story. It's sparked by, my wife and I had a cat named Magoo for about 16 years. I don't know if we have animal lovers on right now, but certain animals come in your life and they can be different. You can have a certain different bond with them, and they're special, the ones that you'll never forget. Magoo is one of those cats that was more like a dog than a cat. And it's funny because whenever he went to the litter box, I would tell you that it didn't smell like roses when he was done. So one day we had a funny thought that maybe there's a story about Magoo. We actually lost him 5 years ago to kidney disease, and he sparked this idea that maybe this superhero cat has this really unlikely superpower, which is what he does in the litter box, that could be used for good. The book is interesting in that, you have the word poo in the title, and I think you can think, oh, that's just a very, very silly, outrageous book, which on the surface it is. But like most great animated films like Pixar, Disney, they work on two levels. So on the first top level is the overt humor, the outrageousness of this book, and the illustrations by Michael Herring. He's just such a phenomenal illustrator. But I just wanted to show you like the types of drawings that he's done here real quickly. Like this kind of illustration, if you can see that, that's the kind of humor that this book entails, but beneath the surface is a much deeper story. And so there are three messages that we want kids, actually, we think it's also a children's book for adults, because adults are giving us really great feedback on this book. But you have the silly layer, and then beneath it, it's basically ultimately a book about the fact that we all have our unique gifts. No matter what they are, no matter how unusual they might be, we all do have special gifts that can be used for good. That's one of the first lessons that's imparted underneath that humor level. The other thing that's in a way more serious, but we don't get serious with it in the book, is that kindness, especially today in the climate we're living in, kindness can help remove those barriers that are keeping us so tribal and polarized, which is really, I think, damaging to the country and the world at large. I know that sounds like we're getting really deep for a silly titled book called Magoo and His Magic Poo, but Magoo is this cat that uses his kindness to free puppies from a puppy mill. And so that is basically about the fact that, like, even if you're a cat and you might look different from dogs, we can all get along. And that kind of dovetails to the third lesson, which is basically the unlikeliest friendships are always possible. So it is called Magoo and His Magic Poo. It was released officially on Amazon on October 29th, which is National Cat Day. And we had a soft launch prior. And we're starting to get people video on TikTok and Instagram sitting with their kids giggling about the book. You mentioned I've spent a career in advertising, which I've been fortunate to have won some really nice awards with that. But this is the most rewarding thing, because this is like you're putting something really personal out there, and there's no committee of clients and account people telling you what to do. You have an illustrator, like I said, Michael Herring, who's really, really, really super talented. My wife, Jennifer, is a really close collaborator on this book. And to see it finally, like anyone here, to see anything you've put together and worked hard on and you put out into the world and you're getting good feedback on, is just probably the most special and most rewarding gift you can get. So I'm just thrilled to be part of the Zoom and to meet you all. And that's basically our story in a nutshell.
I think it's a wonderful, I think it's awesome. I think I allude you to it, and I can't wait to get it and read it and write a review and post it as well. So it'll be on our list of books for the holidays, and make sure we have a store now called Brightside, globaltrade.org/shop. And we'll try as far as possible to put as many books as we can. I will I'm just learning the process of linking and everything. But we do have a blog as well to post our reviews. And so we will start doing more next year. So here we are from Magic and Pooh to one of the books that I think really is on our list as well. And it's about superpower, the variable tech revolution by Elaine. And we're so happy to have you here, Elaine, today. I'm just trying to see where your bio, oh, here we go. So Elaine is a health policy researcher, writer, and advisor. She has over 30 years of writing experience with health agencies, superpower. The Variable Tech Revolution is her first book. Elaine has a special interest in wearable technologies. She's curious and hopeful, and I'll let her tell you the rest. But this is such an important topic, and it's a fabulous book with great illustrations, and I'll try to show you some of them. And over to you, Elaine, and thank you for joining our show today.
Oh, thank you, Elizabeth. It's my pleasure to be here. Nice to meet everybody. Thank you for having me. Yeah, the book came out in October, Superpower, the Wearable Tech Revolution. It's a middle grade reader for kids ages 9 to 12, but I'm actually hearing from parents and teachers that it's suitable for all ages and everybody's learning something. So readers learn about the field of wearable technology, what wearables are, how they work, and the exciting ways that wearable technology is changing our lives and improving our lives. And in the book, readers read all kinds of stories about how it's helping people, and especially people with disabilities. But there's a but, because these are computers on our bodies, in our minds, on our bodies. And so this is a new time in history. And so the book moves from all these incredible stories about how it's changing and improving lives to what are some of the challenges and dangers around wearable technology, and even asks readers to question, can innovation go too far? And so throughout the book, the readers meet engineers, scientists, designers, and young inventors too are featured in the book, who talk about the pros and cons of technology and how they're navigating this new wearable tech frontier and how to design technology responsibly. And so the last chapter wraps up with how do we design technology in a responsible way. So it's a STEM book, it's a STEAM book, but it goes beyond that, and it's being picked up by teachers for a social studies curriculum. So it's really crossing disciplinary boundaries, which I'm pretty excited about. So there are stories throughout the book, and then there are little catchy sidebars that sort of say, oh, caution, move slow, think human. Did you know? These are some of the risks with the technology, and it gets into things around data privacy and device safety and reliability. And it builds on, I don't know if you're familiar with, there's a motto in tech. It started with Facebook and Meta, and it's move fast and break things. And so I developed sort of a little antidote to that. The caution flags throughout the book are caution, move slow, and think human, because we have to think about the impacts of technology before it's out there creating any harm. And that's what all the engineers, designers, and inventors in the book are talking about, advocating for responsible design before the tech's out there creating harm. So that's this book in a nutshell.
I think it's fabulous because we've all been talking about wearable technology, and also when you want to give holiday gifts and you want to really understand what you're giving, because I know my family is very challenging. They will return the gift if it's not something they need. It's better that you really research, because we're living in a generation when everyone is so picky, and you want to make sure that you give a gift that, that's what they want. So this would be a great book to research. And I guess when I'm reviewing products, it would be a great book for me to follow as well. So thank you for writing it and sharing with it. And please stay on. We'll do a Q&A with everyone. So my next, I'm going to call him my beloved professor, because he's been so kind and he's appeared on our show so many times, and he has taught 65,000 students. Now, I think that's incredible. And I'm trying to see how I can tag your book. 65,000 students, that is a lot. And you really need an applaud. And he's written 40 books. So some of you are first-time authors, and you can ask him, how did you write 40 books? So he's a professor from Ohio, and he has a fabulous roster of experience. But this is a very important book, especially during COVID. It says objective prosperity. It's about your mindset, because so many of us have had to change the way we work, change our business models. I know, as Elton mentioned, we had to completely change everything we did, and I'm learning all the technology as we go along, and adding new channels every day. So it's been a really tough nut to crack, because everything you thought you could do has changed. And so if you don't have a prosperity mindset, and when you say holiday greetings, you want to say Happy New Year, may you have a prosperous New Year, may you have a prosperous Christmas. It's important in Isaiah too. Elton and I sing in the Messiah, and it's all about the gifts of prosperity. So prosperity is a very big thing in any culture, any religion, any person. And so I think giving the gift of prosperity is really a powerful book. And so over to you, Professor Roger, tell us about it, and please share a holiday message.
Thank you. It's a delight to be with you all. Actually, on the Amazon review of this book, one of the reviewers said, "This is a book I wish I had read when I was in my 20s. But I have sons now who are in their 20s, so I'm giving it to them for Christmas gift." And it's for people who want to be more prosperous. And we try to give examples, some of them current, like David Stewart, one of the richest 5-point-something billion Black billionaires, and in history. A.G. Gaston is one of my favorite examples in the book. In Demopolis, Alabama, how did this man, who was the grandson of enslaved individuals, become, when he died, he had his estate worth over 130 to 140 million dollars, and he'd given away a lot. How do you do that when you come from a disadvantaged background? He didn't know his father, and his mother was a cook in a home of a department store owner, but he learned how to. And his first lesson that he learned was solve problems for other people. Now, when we think about Mr. Magoo's magic poo, being kind is, in fact, one of the characteristics. The KIPP schools and other charter schools have two themes. One, work hard and be nice. And we give examples of what that means. People who are not nice are not as prosperous generally as others. And that's the characteristics of a nation. One of the things we understand is a lot of people are concerned about the future of the US or other countries. And we talk about what is the differences between Singapore and Switzerland and the US and Canada and countries like Venezuela. And this probably is a book that people who want to figure out what to do in the future about elections would want to read, because it makes decisions on facts rather than opinions. I don't care whether you're Democrat or Republican. I don't care whether you're socialist or capitalist. What behavioral economics is all about is being a solutionist. Now, some of the viewers may remember a TV program called Dragnet. Dragnet had a detective in it, the laconic Sergeant Friday. And when he would meet people that he was interviewing about a crime, anybody know what he would say to them? Just the facts, ma'am, just the facts. And that's the approach of this book. You know, it's not red, it's not blue, it's just the facts about what works to make people more prosperous. And we know that if you create individuals and businesses that are prosperous, you create a nation that's prosperous. And one of the things that we know, there are certain traits, and we discuss these with examples all the way through. One of those traits is delayed gratification. The famous marshmallow experiments in Stanford, they tested little kids and gave them a choice of taking one marshmallow, and they've replicated this with cookies and other things too. One marshmallow now, or you get two when I come back. Then they followed up on those kids 20 years later. The people who delayed the gratification had higher SAT scores, they had much higher incomes, they had much lower, actually, divorce rates. Delaying gratification is one of the keys that people learn. And, you know, Warren Buffett has been fairly successful, still lives in the same modest house that he paid $40,000 for years ago. And he said, the decision to delay consumption now is the decision to have better and bigger consumption later. And so we know that whether you save your money or spend your money is one of the keys to prosperity. We also know, you know, lots of times people say, well, why are wealthy people so stingy? And my answer is, how do you think they got wealthy? And frugality is one of the values that makes a nation and individuals, and it's true of businesses. Why is Jeff Bezos one of the richest persons in the world? And the answer is because he went 10 years and put every dollar he made back into the firm. Now, it turned out okay for him, but you know what his salary was? I mean, the president of Amazon, $85,000 a year. Most CEOs of big corporations make a whole lot more than that. But he didn't go for immediate gratification. He went for postponed gratification. Now, I might add that he lost half of his wealth one year because of a behavioral explanation, being attracted to somebody that wasn't his wife. And that's one of the things what kind of decisions you make determines. A lot of people say, well, prosperity just happens to you. No, it doesn't. About 10% is maybe what happens to you. The other 90% is what you do in response to that. And we give examples like A.G. Gaston, my favorite example, perhaps, because I happen to be involved in some civil rights activities and big admirer of Dr. Martin Luther King. Well, who paid the bail to get Martin Luther King out of the Birmingham jail? And the answer was A.G. Gaston paid $140,000 to get it out. Well, he could only do that because he had learned to solve problems for other people. Burial insurance was one of the ways he did it. And those are the kinds of values that people have. Being prosperous is not a matter of luck. It's a matter of decisions, making a lot of good decisions and sometimes avoiding one or two very bad decisions. And so I've written quite a few books, 40 before this one. And I think this is perhaps one that is more difficult to read. One of the reviewers said, I got more out of it the second and third time than I did the first time. And because you can go back and look at the examples of people, Mary Dillon at Ulta Beauty. And how do you get a good education without spending a lot of money? Both of the authors, my co-author is Roger Bailey. At 16, his parents split and moved, and he stayed in Idaho and worked on a ranch to pay his own way through high school. Then he worked his own way through college, paying all of his as a attendant in a hospital, and then got a PhD scholarship. I did the same thing. I started working at a broadcast station as a janitor, worked up over the years to higher positions. My parents were poor and they couldn't pay money for my education, and I didn't want any debt. No one has to have debt. And in the book, we describe that. And even if you go to a state university where maybe the tuition is $10,000 a year, it's your choice where you pay $30,000 or $40,000, because anybody can go through in 3 years instead of 4 years. If they do three things: one, they take AP courses in high school; two, they probably take an extra course some semesters; and three, they're real careful about changing majors. Your choice. You pay $30,000 for an education or $40,000. Do you have debt when you get out or you don't? Those are all results of decisions that people make. Good decisions add up to prosperity. Bad decisions sometimes destroy it. And 90% of all the billionaires in this country come from people who started with nothing or next to nothing. A lot of people say, Roger, how do you become very wealthy? One answer is start with nothing, but you got to have the right values to get where you want to go. And that's what this book is all about. It's designed, it's not light reading where you just flip through it, but you can go back and look at some of the things over and over and figure out, is inequality getting worse or better? And you can figure out, what are the unintended consequences? Why do we have cities racially segregated? And if you study the interstate systems, that's what it created. But that was an unintended consequence. And we have a whole chapter of unintended consequences in it.
Wow,
Wow.
wonderful.
Mm.
We actually used the book for our challenge. We did a 30-day challenge. We had 11 people that competed, and they were very, very competitive. And we shared the video and the book, and I hope some of them bought the book. But they all said, prosperity. I can't even think about how I'm selling anything. And so we had a lot of discussion about, changing your mindset, and we've shared the videos. And I think people have really enjoyed it. So thank you so much for writing such a wonderful book.
What a great
It's
book.
actually it's being
Absolutely.
used in prisons now too.
What a great book, though. I
Yes.
mean, you've really isolated the important, well, it seems like an analysis of good habits, things that you do, you continue to do, you improve on doing, and do more of over a period of time, because life is a composition of total elements, not just one or two. But if you have, a history and a consistency of certain habits that you engage in on a regular basis, I mean, it only can yield better better results.
Yep.
And so I
And
commend you.
prosperity means different things to different people. One of my favorite examples is a person who was a janitor in an elementary school. Probably never made more than $25,000 a year. And at his death, he left over $1 million for scholarships for students from that school. How do you do that? Because he understood how to be an Einstein at investing. It's called compound annual growth. And he also saved, even though he's making $25,000 a year, he saved a little bit out of every paycheck. And that was A.G. Gaston's rule too.
Yeah, I just read an article that one of the largest consumers of diamonds, and 5,000, 40,000 price diamonds, are not bought by millionaires, but are bought by cosmetologists and hair salon people. And I'm like, really? So it goes to show it doesn't matter how much you make, but it's how much you keep.
Well,
Yeah.
one important point that I mentioned too, it sounds like the people that you've identified had no restriction on what they were willing to do in terms of social standing. I mean, whatever job's available, however I can get ahead, what advantage can I benefit from, then I'll do it modestly, because it does require a level of modesty in that regard.
So from one professor to another, we're going to move to Anthony Valero. And Anthony is another one that's written, I don't know how many books, but he's a publisher, and he started with being an editor. But his latest book that he's got is about his students that he worked with in the mid-'80s. And it's called Charles Street Trio, a novel in 3 voices. So Anthony, please introduce yourself. And Anthony's been on our show several times, and we always like to have this Italian on our show. So Anthony, I think he froze. Did he freeze?
You there, Anthony?
Oh, he left. All right, he froze. He'll come back. So let's just go around and talk about social media. Some of you have PR agencies that are handling it for you, but what has been one of the most successful things that you've done that has worked for your book sales? Now, one of the things that Amazon has, and now we're so excited that we're Amazon associates, but one of the things that Amazon has stressed about self-published authors is that you've got to sell 5,000 books. And it's when you sell the first 5,000 books, it's then that you come to the point of profit. Until you've sold the 5,000 books, it's just not profitable. Maybe you wrote a book because you want to write a book, but if you really want to sell the book, market the book, and be successful, you've got to get to that magic number. So if you were to set a goal for yourselves with your books, you might want to take that 5,000 and break it down, divide it by 12, and it comes to 416 books a month. So when you think about putting a social media plan together, you really want to set a goal for yourself and your PR agents that you all are paying so much money to, or you can hire us and we can help you do the marketing. But you really want to set a goal and say, in order for me to make this book something that I've done, I want to get to 416 books a month. Now, that doesn't mean that every month you sell 416 books. It's just that in one month you could sell 1,000 books, and another month you could sell 1 book. But in the end of the year, your goal would be 5,000. Now, you may want 10,000, 20,000, whatever number works for you. So the first thing in social media marketing is you want to first focus on what is it that it is my goal. And when you know that this is my goal, and at the end of the month, you can look at your royalties on your Facebook page, on your Amazon book, and say, oh, okay, I sold 416 books this month, and I'm on my way to the 5,000. So you want to first set a goal. Your next step is to really understand your target audience. Now, in traditional marketing, we would say your target audience is da 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 da, and you write down, big business plan. But in social media, it's completely different, because you want to look at your network. That means all the people who are members of your social media. That's your target audience, because In social media, when you post something, it's only going to go to your network unless you've got oodles of money and you're advertising and you're spending money and you're working with big ad agencies who can work on the targeting. But if you're doing it yourself, then you want to know who is in your network. So if you have, 5,000 people, 6,000 people, whoever is in your network, you really want to get to know them, because they are the ones that are going to be looking at your posts. They're the ones who are going to be buying your books, and they're the ones that are in your network. And of course, if you have a business plan and you have a future of who you want to sell to, then there's a whole strategy of how to bring those people into your network. So you want to then look at all your channels. So if you've got Facebook, LinkedIn, social media, you want to take a look at all these channels, and you want to look at all those people in your network, and you want to make those channels work for you and the people in your network. So if you're posting things like your dog and your pictures, and that's wonderful. But if you're trying to sell your book, then you want to be focused on messaging. It may still be a family picture and it still may be a dog, but you want to focus on what is it that's in your book that your picture or your message is going to attract people to want to buy the book. So you have to start thinking of, how am I selling this book? Otherwise, you're wasting your time on social media. You're wasting advertising dollars. You're wasting PR agencies' time. So you really need to sit down with yourself and think about, who are these people in my network? You need to get to know them. And groups are a great way. So if you're on Facebook, start a group and bring people into your group. So that's another tip. And then I'm going to run through these tips really quick. So the traditional guerrilla tactic is get to know everybody in your local area, your chamber of commerce, your library, your universities, everywhere that you could sell your book. You want to go and meet these people, or look at the newspaper, look at events, and find yourself an opportunity to give a talk and sell your book. So once you get into a library or a university or a chamber event or anything that you can get your hands on, you can then snap a photo and post it on your Facebook. People like to buy things that other people are buying. It's just the way it is. So when you do a book signing and you're exciting and you're getting people to look at what you're doing, it's going to work. It's the holidays. So try and make your profile with a holiday image. Try and brand yourself. Tell a story, about the holidays, and connect with your audience. So this is something that you want to look at. And then, of course, you might want to join Constant Contact or MailChimp, and we have a affiliate link, and I'll leave the link at the end of the video. But you might want to start yourself a little newsletter or a message with people that you can capture emails from all these different channels, and eventually have a total robust list. So you know everybody's email in your Facebook, in your LinkedIn, so then you can follow up with an email message to them. Happy holidays, here's a link to my book, and I'm so happy you're on Facebook with me, or with LinkedIn, or wherever you want to connect with them. And then wishing customers is always a great thing, sending out holiday messages, holiday cards, postcards about your book. And you'll never, the simplest thing is to ask someone to buy the book, so someone, send them a message, happy holidays, have you read my book, and you'll be surprised how fast you will be able to reach 416 books a month and 5,000 books. So I'm going to run the panel now and ask you to share some of your top tips of writing the book and selling the book, and what has your social media been. And I'm going to this time begin with Donna because I never gave her a chance to introduce herself. She's not an author, but she has something to sell that every author would need. So over to you, Donna, and then we'll just run around and talk about your books and talk about how you plan to share it on social media.
I feel a little intimidating in this group of authors because I've never even thought about writing a book, although a lot of people suggest that I do, because I spent 30 years in the Air Force, so I went everywhere. I was on 9 deployments. 2 wars. I survived 9/11 at the Pentagon. So I got a lot of stuff that has happened to me. So probably should write a book, but just, figuring out how to do that is hard to do. But I have experienced a lot. If anybody wants some travel advice, let me know. I've probably been to the country that you want to go to. It can give you the good, the bad, and the ugly. And for the stouts, I am from Austin, Texas. I'm assuming you guys are Texans. Is that true? Okay. Do you live in Dallas?
How could you tell?
Yeah, your accent gave you away.
We're actually in Horseshoe Bay. We're about 40 minutes from you. Yeah.
I know Horseshoe Bay well. Yeah, it's a beautiful area. Yeah, so we'll have to do a virtual coffee Zoom one day.
Cool.
So, I live in Virginia now. I'm not in Austin anymore.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to get back. I have a plan to get back to Austin in the near future. But so as Claire explained, I now am a business owner after I retired from the military. Live in central part of Virginia. If you know Virginia at all, I'm about 2 hours from Richmond. Closest big town, I'm kind of in the middle of Nowheresville in Virginia, is Lynchburg. That's the nearest big town people might recognize. But it's a very remote area I live in. And I now help people with, Roger's book really intrigued me. That's why I bought a copy. So Roger, I deal in financial services. I'm an insurance agent and I deal with financial services. I work for a big company called Mutual of Omaha. I'm sure all of you have heard of it. For those of you who are old enough and remember a show called Wild Kingdom, they're bringing the show back. It's going to come back in 2023. Of course, Marlon Perkins went to heaven. So there's a new Marlon Perkins. I don't know who the gentleman is, or woman. I don't know who it's going to be, but anyway, it's going to be a great show. So I hope you'll stay tuned and I'll try and find out when it's actually going to go live. So Roger, your book is so important because there's a mindset about money that people have. And most people fall into 2 camps. They're savers or they're spenders. And when you find the spenders, it's really hard to make them understand that they have to have a little bit of that saving mindset because they're robbing their future self, right? So every dollar they're not putting away for a future themselves is a travesty. And sometimes I meet people at the tail end of whatever financial situation they're in. And it's kind of hard to say, if you'd have just started on a different path 20 years ago, we wouldn't be having this discussion. So I'm hoping that a lot of people that are younger read your book, or people that, have children or grandchildren will have these discussions and say, hey, it's great to spend your money and have a wild lifestyle, but at some point, your future self is going to really be upset with you because you didn't save the money that was needed to have the lifestyle you want. And I'm just being honest, people, because I do sit down with a lot of people that, like, here's a perfect example, Roger, of the mindset problem. People will rob their 401ks early. Something happens to them in their 50s, right? You're not supposed to touch your 401k till you're 59 and a half. I don't know if anybody knew that, but you can't touch it because there's a big penalty. So they rob their 401k to do something. I don't know what it is. Maybe they lost their job or something bad happens. Medical bills are a big source of bankruptcy, by the way. So then now they're in their 60s and 70s and they can't retire because the 401k is gone. So there's just all these things that come up in life that if you just have a better early mindset of saving and protecting your money, will guarantee you a much better retirement. So anyway, I'm happy to help anybody that needs some assistance in those areas. I'm really proud to be here. And maybe someday I'll write a book and we can talk about my book. I don't know what I would call it. Donna's Wild Adventures, I guess. Thanks, guys.
Well, Wild Adventures, so in 2 wars, and she's got a slew of medals of honor, and she's a 9/11 Pentagon survivor. So I think those stories are worth telling.
Well,
Donna, I think you should definitely write a book, and I think the most intimidating thing about it is starting it. But I can tell you, and I'm not saying I just finished War and Peace. It's a children's book that's 46 pages, but it took 10 years to do it because I'm a full-time advertising creative director. My illustrator was always busy. We would work. There would be huge gaps between the work. So it's just about, I think anyone here would agree, just starting it and just chiseling away. And one day you go, oh my God, I'm done. Yeah.
I see Anthony
Donna.
over there. But let me say this too. I have to give you credit. I mean, you've taken time out of your lives and you shared a portion of your book and ideas that you think can improve our lives. And as Roger was saying, you make a lot of money in most cases by helping people solve problems. Solving problems, helping people to understand, getting a better grip on their future, the children's future. It's amazing. And just the idea that you have the tools. A friend of mine, one of our co-founders, she's gone to be with the Lord, rest her soul. She said that that when it came to writing, she at the age of 78 decided to write a book. Now, yeah, Esther Pereira, and Esther wrote the book, and she said all of her friends looked at it so funny.
Yes,
What do
they
you
do.
have to write and tell the story about? It
Yeah.
was terrible, but she was such an amazing lady that she decided that she wanted to tell the story of Esther in the Bible. And what an amazing perception on things. And it also mirrored her own life and how she was looked down on. And then she decided that, I'm just as important as everyone else. And I think I have a story to tell. I have something that I want to share with other people. And I think that it's worthwhile for me to share it with them. So I just want to take this moment to segue with you on you have a story to tell. And it's such an amazing thing that you decided to share the stories with other
Yeah.
people that way.
So,
Thank you for that.
Anthony, go ahead.
Oh,
Let's
oh,
tell us about the new book.
oh,
Yeah,
can you hear, can you hear me?
Yeah, we
Yes.
can hear you.
Oh,
Us too.
thank you. Well, first of all, I'm sorry, my computer, froze, so I had to reboot. But look, I really want to thank Elizabeth and her partner for inviting me back. We've been on several times. It's a great pleasure for me to be with her and you and talk about books and writing and so forth, a few things today. I'll just, before I just show this recent book very briefly, when Professor Blackwell, I think he said something about advice of being nice. The only advice my father ever gave me was be nice. He also said, make sure you change your underwear every day in case, you have an accident, but that besides that one, but be nice, always, felt a little thin to me. But when Professor Blackwell said that, I realized how wise my father was in telling me to be nice, because I am probably one of the fewest, nicest writers you ever want to meet, because the writing is so difficult that writers really, how could I say, at least in my experience, it's a difficult life. Anyway, so that's that. Anyway, just a few words about, I believe I made at least two women I know very happy. We did a book, it's called Charles Street Trio, a novel in three voices. I sent Elizabeth a copy. I don't know if you got it yet, but I did send you a copy.
On its way.
Yeah, I did. I sent you a copy. You should have gotten it, but anyway, what this is about briefly is 35 years ago, I was teaching at NYU and also City University, and I had students. And after the course, a few students wanted to work with me, continue to work. So I did for years. And my building was on Charles Street in New York City,
Love that
downtown
story.
Manhattan. And so these writers came, and then skip to this year, 36 years later, one of the students saw me, and actually on television, and contacted me. The upshot was, she said, why don't we do a book together? So now I'm asked, we asked to do a book with two former students of 3 decades ago. Now, I said yes, I gambled on that. And this is the product. It's book one of the early years of 3 writers, of which I felt I was not a teacher. I was a single separate artist writer, and they were 2 writers, and we put this book together. And I think it's very interesting. I would be interested to know if any of you also think that it was a gamble. 2 students who became professionals in the next 30 years. One is a visual artist, a poet. The other one is a Emmy Award-winning HBO documentary. So we put this book together separately on a theme of early years, childhood years, family stuff. And this is the result. And I'm really very proud of that. I am very proud of that. And I feel two writers, 2 women, very happy about probably publishing the first time in their careers. This is the product. So It's interesting. It's 3 different mediums. It's prose, it's photographs, and it's poetry together, separately written, but on a theme. So it's like one epic work of 3 different mediums on a topic. I believe I stated that very clearly, actually. That's what it is. So, I don't know, Elizabeth. I don't know how it's going to turn out or how it's just out. It's really now, it's on Amazon. Charles Street Trio. These are the 3 women. It's a beautiful, I don't know if you can see it. Those are the 2 women and my face over there. So that's it. That's what this book is.
Wonderful. It's going to be on our reading list. We'll promote it all through the holidays.
I really appreciate that.
Associate account. So we'll put it on our blog and
Thank you very much.
New thing, and I don't know if I can succeed in finding all the links, but I'll try my best. But
Thank
other than
you.
that, be on our site along with your individual website. So if people want to go to you
Thank
directly,
you. Yeah, I will.
we can do that as well.
Thank you.
Over to the panel. We'll do a quick round and then we'll end.
One question first. Roger and Anthony.
Yep.
Seems like author of multiple books.
Yeah.
Get an understanding from you. I mean, your philosophy on writing, and what what is the culmination of, because you've taken on projects and you've decided to write books about these projects, and and how does that and you from even the idea that you're writing several books on different issues, it propels me to thinking that you're always reading, researching, evaluating stuff, and you're always learning on your own. And talk to us a little bit about that, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Oh, yeah, I will
Go
tell
ahead.
you that, oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Roger.
Okay, well, I would tell you that I was fortunate when I first started out as a young assistant professor to have one of the most distinguished professors in America ask me to work with him, like you did with the 2 women, or they did. And then we built, that book has sold over 1 million copies, and it's in 12 different languages now. I just got a new translation of it in Old Chinese. I hope it's the same thing I wrote, but I won't know. But, and I was going to say this, Donna, I suggest you start writing. I have actually written up 4 or 5 pages on how to write a book. And if anybody, you, Donna, or anybody else wants to go to my website, under the comment section, you just say, could I get the write up on how to write a book? And a lot of people say, I don't have time. Well, I wrote 40 books, almost a book a year. And a lot of people say, when did you find time? And the answer is between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. Night after night after night.
Wow.
Roger, what's the title of that book? The one you just mentioned?
It's called Consumer Behavior.
Oh, okay. Thank
And
you.
It started out as Ingle, Collett, and Blackwell in the 10th edition, and a lot of these other editions, it's Blackwell, Menard, and people's names that are hard to pronounce because they translated into Russian and Portuguese and so forth. It sells very well in Brazil, for example. And I was invited to speak at the State University of Georgia, which I'd never heard of. Well, it was the nation of Georgia because they use the book in Ukraine and Georgia and places like that in Russian.
That sounds great. That sounds great. I'm going to have to live a long time to write as many books as Roger's written. I mean, I've only written 13, 14.
Yeah.
But anyway, listen, I really appreciate that question. Again, when I'm here, I'm very interested in the questions and all the conversation. In my case, I have been writing full time since the early 1960s. Don't ask me why. At that time, I would wake up and I actually began in publishing. I'm also a book editor. I'm fortunate to edit very, pretty famous people in my day. But I would wake up at 2, 3 in the morning and just sit and write. I mean, I didn't know why. I just felt that fortunate in my schooling, in the world of fiction. I started as a fiction writer, although I've written nonfiction books too, and I enjoy experimenting with biography. I just would write and then take a shower and go to work. I never considered writing how could I say, a career or relied on making money from it. And then I think, as Roger would say, money did come from it, but the original thrust was to do something that I felt I had to do. As a result, by the way, and then, as you would say, I chose an area as a cultural worker, writing about ethnic groups. I felt that I researched that and saw what was a virgin territory, and I chose that. So there are decisions to make in writing when you're writing, not to repeat what's gone before, but to write new things. And as a result, I believe that I have, how can I say, not helped is not the word, informed a lot of people, including these latest two ladies. And so that's what it is. It's still to this day, I do not write to publish and to publish everything. I do not write to make money and I make money. And I write to feel the joy of living my life as doing something that's necessary. That's what I would say about what you're saying. Oh, good came out of something that was necessary to me personally. And it still is.
Wow, that's amazing. Very commendable. Yes, 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 yes.
So Roger, you mentioned David about solving problems in your book history. What was his last name?
David Stewart, Steward. He went to Central Missouri University, not an expensive school, and he went there because it was nearby. He could live at home, and then put everything he owned in a backpack and hitchhiked to St. Louis because he had a sister he could rent for free, went free from his sister. And with a married and two kids and a mortgage, he left the company he was working with and started his own firm called Worldwide Technologies. Last year, they did $13 billion of business. It's one of the largest technologies firms in the world. And David Stewart, according to Forbes, is worth around $5-point-something billion. He also integrated the swimming pool in Clinton, Missouri when he was in high school.
I know him. He's also a contractor for the U.S. government, right?
I think the government is his biggest customer. Yeah.
A few years ago, my friend who was a colonel in the U.S. Army had him come into our office. I worked for him at the time, and they were talking about contracting technology. Yes, what an amazing guy, man. What an amazing guy. He was just outstanding. Wow, isn't that crazy?
And he wrote a book called Doing Business by the Good Book, which in my seminars, when I teach executive seminars, I often recommend his books.
Okay, yeah, that's amazing. As you were telling and sharing that with me, it occurs to me that, yeah, David Stewart. Couldn't remember his last name, but I do remember David and the company he worked for. Wow, yeah. Wow, that's awesome. Great
but
story,
listen,
Roger.
We've got other authors, so let's move on to Jen and Rusty. So Jen and Rusty, tell us what has your social media experience been, and how has your marketing with your books been? Since when did you launch your books?
It was end of September.
September 29th.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we started a website. We launched the website in conjunction with the book. And I don't know, we probably could use some help marketing.
Yeah, it's interesting. Our publisher, we were obviously first time authors, never really expected to write a book. And so didn't know what to expect from the publisher, but we were surprised because they basically sent us a printout and it's like, these are the things you're going to do to promote your book. They said that the book business has changed and that the publishers don't really get involved as much as they used to. And so we're kind of having to learn on the fly. Like Jen said, we launched healthierhomes.com in conjunction with the book. And we didn't want it to be too salesy, but there are a few references in the book to kind of bring people back if they want to dig a little deeper. There's some more info on that to get more granular on a few things. We had a pretty good Facebook following for JS2 Partners, our construction company. And so we've created a Facebook group called Healthier Homes Nation. And we're building that. We're trying to make it a community where people can ask questions, share experiences, And it's just a kind of an open forum for people that have struggled with health issues or chemical sensitivities or something like that. So we're currently building that, and people can follow along with our builds and all that stuff. So
another great way is that this video that I'll send you the link, and you can share that in your group, and you can share it everywhere, because the more videos you can produce, your algorithms will go up. And so try to attend as many podcasts as you can, and then you can have content. Another way is that to look at your PR Newswire, press release, and then check out everywhere that you've been featured in, whether it's Yahoo or whatever, and then you make a post that we've been featured in all these publications, because you're spending all this money to get your press release out there, and so you want to promote that as well. So that's just something. So every minute counts, and so as they say, the Christmas countdown has begun, and you want to try and sell as many books as you possibly can, and we wish you much success with it, and we'll do our best on our end as well. So over to you, Harry. You are a creative, so you probably know this better than most of us. How does it feel to be doing your own book now?
Yeah.
Versus
I think it's still a little mysterious of why some things hit and why some things take longer. I think you have to just stay at it. I mean, like Rusty and Jen, our book is really, really new. We have a website, magoonismagic.com. We have TikTok and Instagram. That's basically where most of our content is. We've also been doing, we've targeted some of our favorite influencers and people on Instagram that we really love that have like famous animals. And what we've done is we've built 20 press kits that we put the book Magoo's Magic Poo in this beautiful black. It almost looks like tuxedo leather. It has a magnetic clasp, about $15 a pop on Amazon. And when you open it, it actually on top has a paw that says love, like a sticker. When you open it is the book Magoo's Magic Poo. We on Zazzle got beautiful journals made with the cover. So there's the journal is in there, the book is in there, a artisanal jar of prunes because the poop joke. There are animal like poofy pom-pom pens of cats and dogs. And then it's all kind of like covered up nicely with this black and white star tissue paper because the stars are on the cover. And it's actually the cover of the book is we're paying homage in a subliminal way to Disney's Fantasia of Mickey Mouse with his hand out with the stars wrapped around him. It has a little bit of homage to that. So we've sent those boxes out, and two of our favorites already have posted videos of getting the box, opening it up. And now if you go on our website and some of our social media, you'll see that content. We're using that as like kind of some social proofing. We're also getting some nice photos of one of the things that sounds really simple, but it's been impactful is just requesting reviews from people who review books in your categories on Instagram. So we've been targeting children's book reviewers. We send them a nice little short, pithy note with the cover sent. And then the ones that want to review it, they get the book. And when they review it, that's a whole other community that's not part of my social network. So you're trying to cross-pollinate different eyeballs on your book. Look, I'm not a teacher. I'm just saying what we've been doing. And so if Nancy gets the book and she reviews it, and Nancy has a following of 1,000 people that I have nothing to do with, then I've kind of watched the comments and the most enthusiastic comments. I will DM those people and say, thank you for your support. We'd love to send you a book. And that has happened where those people say, oh my God, I'd love it. Then they get a book and then they have their own network. And you start to have like this buckshot effect of kind of cross-pollinate. I think you just have to keep on putting your book out there. And, for like Jen and Rusty, if you were to make some kind of package, and they don't have to be expensive, but maybe it goes to Chip and Joanna Gaines and the people that, I think you find the people that are in your area and category and kind of target them because you have nothing really to lose. That's how I look at it.
yeah,
It's a great idea.
Yeah.
Some of you on your way to cultivating a book that can be translated into a movie.
yeah.
I mean, that's a great philosophy. It sounds like you're really engaging in a prospect for that. And so,
Yeah.
so
One of
something to think about.
our authors is trying to get his book into a movie with Tyler Perry. So one of his strategies was to make friends with everybody that Tyler Perry knows. So screenwriters, producers. And so he has been following everybody on Twitter
That's
and
great.
Instagram, and he actually got a meeting for his book. So, he surrounded himself with mentions from all these people. And, and it took him 2 years, but he's supposed to be presenting his book this week. So we'll wish him good luck.
That's
Uh,
amazing.
yeah, so keep at it. It's just set some goals so you know what you're doing, and create a pathway. I'm very methodical about that. So now Donna has a huge following. She beat me, and so she does 9 posts a day. So Donna, tell us about your social media experience, and we'll go to Elaine, and then I'll get Elton to wrap us up.
Mhm.
Gosh, I'm probably the worst person to talk about social media because I don't do TikTok. I'm barely on Instagram. And I know I'm an old fogey because of that, but I just put a lot out there, either on my, I do encourage people to have a separate page for their business or their book. Don't mix it up with your personal page. That's really a bad idea, okay? So keep them separate. Have a great page for the book or the business, and then, go after those people. And not put that stuff on the personal page. So I post a lot on my business page and some on my personal page, but sometimes I'm putting on my personal page something that might pique someone's interest to look at my business page, if that makes sense, right? And I do encourage people, there's something you're doing in your community, even if you think it's not relevant, put it on Facebook, right? Either on your business page or your personal page. You'll draw people to look at you because they're going, oh, what's Donna doing? Oh, she went to the food pantry today, gave out food in her town there. Because people look at that and they go, oh, I didn't know Donna was a community service kind of a person. That's really great. And you get a twofer. They look at you, they see that you're doing community work, and they may volunteer to do the community work. So it's like you're spreading the kindness. We talked about being nice today, spreading kindness. That's one way you do that as well. You get engaged with your community. We all live somewhere, right? I live in the middle of nowhere, right? But there's still a lot of needs out there. So I try and plug into where those needs are and offer my time because, I just feel like it's important. I served the nation for 30 years, but I never took off my uniform. I'm still serving in whatever way I can. I can't go overseas anymore and carry a gun and, engage the bad guys, but I can help at home with things that need to be met and with the resources I have, which is basically just my hands and my brain and, my ability to connect with people. So do those kinds of things with your social. You'd be surprised how many people will follow you either on Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn. I do encourage you to be on LinkedIn. For those of you who think LinkedIn is a waste of time, it's not. I've gotten some of my best, engagements from LinkedIn. So if you don't have an account, it takes 5 minutes. It's super easy. So don't ignore LinkedIn. Anyway, I'm not the social media expert that Claire has said I am, but I do put a lot out there, mostly about things that would pique somebody's interest to talk to me, whether it's about financial matters or like this month, it was all about Medicare because Medicare enrollment was going on. I provide help in that area. So it was a busy time. Yesterday was very frantic. It was the last day of open enrollment. So I'm looking a little tired today. So anyway, nice to talk to everybody. What a great group.
Okay, Elaine, Donna does a lot of great stuff on her Facebook page. So kudos to you. And yesterday was insane. I know that. So Elaine, over to you. Yeah.
Thanks. So this is my first book. I'm new to social media, new to the whole world of promotion. This is a book with Orca Book Publishers, and they are known for being a school and library publisher. And so the hope is to market, and they do a lot of conferences and teaching association meetings and so forth to market to schools and libraries. I think for me, the most important thing was to put out a really good product. And right now it's being picked up on a whole bunch of best book lists. So on the National Science Teachers Association, just recently listed it for best STEM books of 2022. So it's on their 2023 list. It's on another book in Canada called 10 Lids for best books at schools and libraries. and it's had a number of other reviews. So that to me, hopefully, will expand the reach. But I've done all the social media stuff. Had to learn, quick learning curve on Twitter and Instagram because I was never on that before, which I find highly intimidating. But Facebook, LinkedIn, I've done book trailers, have a website. And so doing all the best practice stuff. And hopefully I still have a pretty small circle. So hopefully that reach is extending, but I guess I'm really relying on the school and library market for this one.
Well, one thing you might want to consider, Elaine, I mean, if you reached out to enough providers, perhaps, like Samsung, to think, they might be able to sponsor what you're doing to reach their audience, because cell phone users, that'll last who knows how long. Every youth kid and, will become a professional and is going to need, cell phone use. So reach out to maybe any cell phone provider. So those are things that you might want to engage and also spend a little time thinking about what that cultivation might look like.
Yeah.
Good idea.
The smaller like Boost Mobile, or they would do a book promotion with you. You could do a book signing at their store. They're giving away a free Samsung phone right now, and so those are places that you could be selling the book.
Imagine though, like some of the fast food providers, they market their services through their children. McDonald's, they get the kids in, the parents got to go.
That's right.
So through cell phone use, that's how they get those services that way.
So you're watching BrightsideGlobalTrade.org, and if you love the books and the authors, we'll make sure that their links, as well as our new shop, which is BrightsideGlobalTrade.org/shop, is available. I'm still putting the books up, but I'll make sure you have the links anyway, so you can buy them. These are great Christmas, and you're with these wonderful authors today, and we hope you watch it. And like we say, every time you buy a book, please snap a photo and put it in the comments, so we know that you're paying attention and you're watching. And just for doing that, we'll enter you into our monthly drawing, where we give away gifts each month, as well as give you tickets to our next show. So we have just 2 more events to close out the year. We have Donna's event on the 19th. Thank you for being a sponsor. And that's at 7 p.m. And then we will meet in person for lunch. For those of you who are in North Carolina and Goldsboro, we will be meeting at the Logan's restaurant. And for those of you who cannot come to any of these events, just watch online. We love all your comments, and we've really enjoyed meeting many of you. And I meet people in the grocery store and they recognize me from my videos, and so I've become quite famous. So thank you for all the wonderful love and affection that we get because of this broadcast. And we wish you a wonderful holiday season, and we hope that it'll be prosperous for everyone, and that we will wrap up our last event, which will be the 19th, and then we will close until next year. We're going to have a new format, a new studio, new equipment, more channels, and we'll be bigger, brighter, and more exciting next year. We will have our first health and wellness broadcast on January the 26th. So it's going to give us some time to do the marketing and get all that we need to get in gear. So we're very excited because everything is opening back up. People are going to be virtual, but they're also going to be meeting in person. And so we'll give you a full lineup of where you can meet us, because we do a lot of trade shows and we're at all over the country. We Las Vegas, New York, and we'll tell you where we are so you can meet us. And we're coming to your city next year. So tell us where you are and we'll connect with you.
I want to just share this with you. One of the things that makes us a liberated culture is the fact that we can write and print and share and read so many different subject matter items on so many different levels. I'm just encouraged by you all, your capacity to write, explore, explain, produce, present, read, because even as writers, you're readers. And so that's amazing. I mean, you could just sit back and revel in that benevolent fact. And so when you decided to write something as tremendous in most of your cases, in all of your cases that you've written, I just give you kudos for that. Keep doing it. And the cases where Roger and Anthony have written so many books, I encourage you to keep writing and sharing with us, explore different subject matters. You know, and one of the things that's really it's just revolutionary to me is that when you find people who are in their 80s and 90s, and they still are compelled to learn. They just keep on learning. I mean, that's where my head's trying to be. I mean, because you can learn something from anybody, you know, but if you keep on learning, keep on learning, keep on learning, man, how really, what kind of free mind we have. You know, I'm just excited about that, and I explore that with you. I encourage that with you. You're amazing people. Keep being amazing people and pursue it with a reckless abandon. Just completely be amazing people. And so with that being said, I really, really, really want to thank you for being a part of our broadcast today. And thank you for being a part of our series and programs. Please stay tuned. I mean, we're going to have some amazing series. We're plotting and planning them now, and we want you to be a part of them. And also explore the prospect of looking into the future with us, because we're going to do some crowdsourcing venues where we'll be able to reach millions of people around the world. Millions of people around the world. And I just want to keep you on board with us with that, so you can absorb and explore that future with us. And I want to extend to you beyond limitations, that you have an amazing holiday, you and your family, and that you have all the benefits, the love and support, encouragement, and all the food you can eat. And I hope.
And keep healthy. Keep your homes
stay
healthy.
Stay healthy. You know, so I mean, I've been exploring with my wife. We've been talking about it. You know, we've been talking about, wow, you know, you got to, it's the outdoors and staying active. You have to stay active. Good health is outdoors. Healthy. And I have a friend of mine who's a farmer. Now he's outdoors all the time. He and his wife. And I said, whoa, that's big time. But you know, I don't got to think about that. But you guys are amazing. We want to give you the courage, and I expect that you have an amazing holiday, and it's going to be like that. And so I want to issue these concerns. We have a couple of different broadcasts. Stay tuned for those. In the meantime, feel the incredible exploration of wonderful times that we share with you. Thank you so much, Donna, for being a sponsor and supporting us throughout the year. And thank you all. And it's going to be a great holiday in spite of COVID, and I hope that this not going to come back again. And so, but we look into the next few weeks and next years with incredible hopefulness, and that all your dreams come true. It's about time. Even today, with the liberation of Britt Griner, I'm excited about that. I mean, it's just good news. It's just good news here. This lady's been incorporated for 8, 9, 10 months, and now she's back with the family. And so I just want to share that with you. But thank you all for being who you are, being who you are. And I pray for the courage that you continue to be who you are, no matter what. All right, with you and your family. Blessings to your family and the children that grow from us. In his name, thank you, kind Father, for your grace and everlasting mercies. Give us the invocation for a great holiday, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. Hallelujah.
Thank you.
Hallelujah.